So, but he asked, he didn't do it on his own. So you may not want to do a particular service that's given to you, and you can also present that. But just to leave it, that's offensive.
Actually, there's another story, it's almost, you can't utter it in public, but it's all public. I'll try to skirt around it. Jai Satchidananda was taking care of all his quarters in Vrindaban. Prabhupada was still here in 77. Could have been in 70, 60, but that period.
In LA?
No, Prabhupada's quarters in Vrindaban.
Oh, Vrindaban.
And there was always supposed to be somebody there, even to now, or else, it's India, they'll take over. So someone from this always went every day and prepared an offering. And, it was very touchy, that whole situation, Prabhupada's quarters, these guys can take it back.
And he had his personal stuff
still going on. So anyway, Jai Satchidananda was doing a good part of that going every day. But his wife didn't like him, he wanted to leave, he just left. So Prabhupada wrote a letter, he was, I won't say what he said, because only Prabhupada could get away with what he said.
Yeah.
Basically said he was chasing his wife.
Yeah.
But I'll just...
Yeah, I understand, okay.
You probably heard it.
I didn't hear it, but I know what Prabhupada would probably say.
It's really heavy.
Yeah, Prabhupada wanted to make a point sometimes.
It was very colorful.
Well, he used to hit right on the spot. We don't see the whole thing. Prabhupada could see you better than you could understand yourself. Sometimes you would think you were doing something for some reason or acting in a certain way. Prabhupada would change your mind simply by what he said. He would reveal to you what you are, even though you thought you knew everything. Yeah, if we don't listen to Prabhupada, we don't understand Krishna consciousness. We have to listen to him. I don't mean just reading his books, I mean listening to his lectures.
You want me to tell another one?
It's getting better.
In 74, I was sitting in the veranda with Chandramauli, and nobody was around, and Prabhupada was in his room. You know how Calcutta is. There's that room, I think they use it, but it was Prabhupada's room. And so in those days, maybe now there's a door, but it was just a curtain. And I'd been there several days, and Gargamuni and Chandramauli were complaining continually to Prabhupada. You could say bugging Prabhupada. From what I would see, they were bugging. Because they were frustrated because Hansaduda had done something wrong, and he was using Chandramauli's records, and we were supposed to send money back to Calcutta. But he wasn't. Later on, he got busted by the German police. Another thing. But so Prabhupada was ignoring it pretty much. I could hear it because the quarters were just.
It's pretty open there.
You could hear it. So all of a sudden, Shuddha comes on the other side of the curtain, and he says, Prabhupada's in there, you can go and talk to him.
He said that to
me and Chandramauli. So I'm like, I don't know about that. But then Chandramauli started to get up to go because he's a senior person. I felt okay, we'll go in, I'll go with Chandramauli. On my own, I wasn't feeling, I didn't like, oh, yeah. So when we sit down, the first thing that Chandramauli said that I remember was, on the same thing, complaining about this Hansaduda thing. But he said it in a very kind of mystical way. He said, Prabhupada, even though the Germans and Japanese, they lost World War II, but they've taken over ISKCON. And Prabhupada looked at him like quizzically, what are you talking about? And his point was, he said, well, this woman, Balago's wife, was supposedly Japanese, Chinese. So he said, she's doing all this, and then Hansaduda is doing that. So what was Prabhupada's response was, he quoted Yashadevi Prabhakya Tadevi Tatagaro, quoted the Sanskrit, and he said, your relation is with the Guru. He said, you shouldn't be concerned with this person does and that person. Right. I think Prabhupada fed up hearing this whole thing that they were going on. He said, sometimes a very wealthy man leaves his money to an irresponsible son, and he squanders it all. What can be done with that? And then we were there for over an hour and a half, probably.
Yeah, you're not your brother's keeper.
So, I told that on the memory tape, and Siddhanta took that and put it on one. He considered like
Prabhupada's teaching us, then, we should be more concerned about what was happened to us instead of looking around and trying to make a political evaluation of them.
But ironically, just a few weeks later, somehow or other, one young devotee recently died, really nice, Nikhilananda. His mother and parents, they
Just recently, huh?
Yeah, Nikhilananda, because he was so young.
This was in LA, right?
No, Nikhilananda was all Germany. So he had joined in Germany. He knew fluent. He was very good at being a smart guy. I know I was in Germany for, So it said, and his parents made a big thing, and he got the police and the government, and they got involved in the temple, and they somehow confiscated all that money. A big thing back in '74.
And we lost everything.
Yeah, so they lost all this money because somehow Anjadu wasn't keeping it in the right account. They just froze it.
Yeah, let's not go too far into these stories.
I'm saying this.
We can write a whole,
Like
not
Prabhupada
a
said.
book, but an encyclopedia.
Right, Prabhupada said, what can be done for a wealthy man's son squandering money, but that played out, in other words, so, right?
I get the point. I think everybody gets the point. Will you get the point? Okay. Okay, any other questions?
A couple of comments. Thank you for the next class. You spoke about leadership. I have a slightly different understanding that having a good and qualified leader is not enough. You also have to have good and qualified followers in order for the leader to really be able to do anything.
But that's what it means to be a leader, is to inspire the people to follow. If you can't do that, you're not a leader.
Yeah, leader there. Also going back to this point, Krishna Maharaj he's very heavy on the point of the order of the spiritual master. He writes about the 6 sons of Advaita, who's Mahavishnu, and 3 of the sons followed his instruction, and 3 didn't. And scripturally, it's considered that he only had 3 sons, and those who didn't follow him aren't even really considered his sons.
Asar,
yeah, useless.
Mm-hmm.
And what was Prabhupada writing in the purport about
his godbrothers.
well, I think those
Right.
sutras.
No, it was that contention that was going on in the Gaudiya Math, who's the successor of Bhakti Siddhanta.
Yeah.
And so he compared that.
Mentions it in purpose.
Yeah.
Sridhar Maharaj wanted to take that out after Prabhupada left. He said that should be taken out of the book. All these times that he decried his godbrothers, he said it'd be better to take that out, but of course they didn't listen. Sridhar Maharaj actually thought that should be taken out.
Well, it's good history because it was teaching us what to avoid. That's the idea. That's why Prabhupada put it in there. He didn't want us to make the same mistakes.
Oh, we would never make those mistakes.
You got it wrong.
I got better mistakes.
That's a big we you put on there. We. Maybe a few, but not everyone.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but it comes back to purifying one's desire. If we have many desires, as it's mentioned, what is that verse? Vyasatmika buddhya keha kudanandana bahubhak sakya yanatascha buddhyo vyavasayinam. Many desires means many branched intelligence. But Prabhupada said our movement is successful and he uses himself as an example, that we focus in making the instructions of our spiritual master life and soul. Life and soul means if everything whatever falls in relationship to the spiritual master's instruction, we can use that in devotional service. If it's outside, then it's asar, useless. He made it so it's clear. He said, my spiritual master is wrong, but he's right.
The snake is a rope.
Yeah. That's the point. If the spiritual master says that this rope is a snake, it's a snake. Do we have that kind of faith? We might ask a question and they get the same answer. Then then the faith has to be there at that point.
That was a specific thing with Prabhupada, when Bhaktisiddhanta had that snake killed at the ashram.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Prabhupada didn't understand. He thought, well, wait a minute, we're Vaishnavas. We don't kill snakes. But later, when he read the Prahlad's prayer where he says, Modeta sadharapi brishtika sapatya, Modeta, the sadhus are actually pleased when the snake or scorpion is killed. So, I mean, there's other things in Sadhikano that we don't even hurt a fly or an insect. But you gotta kind of balance it.
Yeah. It's like sometimes people don't like to hear Krishna killing demons because they think, let's just hear Krishna with the other part of his leelas. It's more pleasurable. Yeah. Marjorie.
Yeah. How about questions? You said, temple are kotas, and temple are kotas, so, and yet we do this conflicts and this contentions.
Well, the atmosphere in the temple, when there is devotional service, that is, Prabhupada is making the point in a more of an absolute sense. If we haven't come to that stage, then we're somewhere in between. But the whole principle, Prabhupada's talking about the principle of a temple, it's the spiritual world. You take shelter from the material world, as soon as you come inside that door, the whole atmosphere is different. But then again, if your consciousness is still outside, or has the elements of being outside, then you're there where your consciousness is. Although the temple is still Vaikuntha, your consciousness is not aligned with that atmosphere, and therefore you see something different or experience something different. But that doesn't change the fact that the temples are Vaikuntha. The Krishna is being worshipped there. Is that right?
Prabhupada said.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, as you said,
Our consciousness may not be Vaikuntha, but the temple is.
Like for instance, there's a big lecture in Vrindaban where Prabhupada says, if you come to Vrindaban to enjoy Vishaya Bhog, enjoy, you're far, far from Vrindaban.
Right, there you go. That's perfect conclusion.
That's why Narottam has the song, Vishaya Charya Shuddhaviman Kavihama Eravashivadana. Your mind has to become purified, then you can be in Vrindaban.
And if you have a place outside where pure devotional services, even though it's not a temple, and then it's as good as Vaikuntha. It's a spirit, in a sense, it has all the elements of a spiritual energy.
Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani is fantastic. Wherever you go, like probably carries Vrindavan.
I wrote that book. Well, I didn't write it. I compiled it called Holy Jail. Some people ask, well, what do you mean holy jail? People are performing devotional service in jail, so the jail is developing elements of spiritual world. It's all a matter of consciousness, how we perceive things, but still, because the deities are being worshipped here, according to the instructions of the spiritual master, it's the spiritual world. Krishna's present.
In Alachua, they announced after the deity addressed whoever was making announcements says, so this person assisted their spiritual master as the deity. Kind of to bring it, that Prabhupada's really wanting this. It's some attempt at linking that service to Prabhupada.
What's the point again?
Before the class starts, someone will announce who dressed each
Deity.
But the way they say it is that such and such person assisted their spiritual master, meaning Prabhupada. But I guess they could also mean their own spiritual master.
Yeah.
Just so they don't think that they're the doer.
Gopi Bharta Padakamayar.
Something like that.
Dasa. Yeah, just like Prabhupada said, Krishna is the original spiritual master, and all those in the line of Krishna are connected. And so even though one may be far removed, still they're acting on the instructions of Krishna. The connection goes all the way back to Krishna. So it's a matter of consciousness. But that doesn't change the fact that the temples are Vaikuntha. We may not experience it, but you know, two people are in the same place. One is in Vaikuntha, the other one's in hell. What do they say? You know, what's that? The mind can make a heaven of hell and hell out of heaven. Thank you.
Well, I personally heard Srila Prabhupada say how the temple was Vaikuntha in Boston in 1971, where he came to visit the temple, and we were very poor then, so we just, fixed up what used to be the Brahmachari ashram for Srila Prabhupada to, stay in during the day. They rented the nicest hotel in Boston. It was like a Four Seasons penthouse. They had rented that for Srila Prabhupada. And devotees went and cleaned the hotel room and put pictures of Krishna and flowers. And then when Srila Prabhupada came to the temple, he went into this one little room. It was probably like 10 foot by 12 foot, and had a little table, and sit on the floor. And Satsrup Maharaj, who was the temple president at the time, he said, "Well, it's getting late, Srila Prabhupada, and we've rented a hotel room for you to stay in." And Prabhupada's eyes got really big. And he said, "Hotel?" He said, "I'm not going." And he quoted the verse, Sanskrit, and he said, the country is in the mode of goodness, and the city is in the mode of passion, but a hotel is simply a brothel.
Right.
He said, "I'm not going." And he said, "But the temple is Vaikuntha." He said, "I'm staying here." And of course we were ecstatic that he was going to stay with us at the temple. And he stayed 2 days just in that one room, and they got a little cushion for him on the floor, and of course they went to the hotel and they brought back all the pictures of flowers. But he wouldn't go there.
He should have asked.
He really wanted to stay at the temple.
I should have asked him first, but they didn't ask him. Yeah, I remember that statement. Yeah, he said the hotels are brothels. There's another statement too, like that, similar, whole long statement about that. Even more what we say, or to the point.
No, someone told a story where they were waiting at he was sitting down waiting for the car to pick him up, and there was a bar, part of the airport or something, and probably didn't even want to sit in that chair because it was the bar. No, got up.
Yeah, he's teaching. He's awesome.
Pretty strict.
Yeah. Anything else? Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, I have a question. It may not be related to the subject of the class, but for example, Madhava Mataji says, Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna should always use a stick. And then somebody else says, Srila Prabhupada said that sometimes he can use a stick, sometimes he doesn't have to use a stick. So Madhava Mataji said, oh, the devotee should always use a crown, because Srila Prabhupada said, do they have helmets? And somebody else said, oh, the devotees were using turbans, and they said, do you have helmets? Helmets meaning the crowns. So if we get all these confusing things, like for example, because Madhava heard one thing and somebody else heard a different thing. So sometimes it's difficult, for example, in deep worship to come to an arrangement where everybody...
I'm going to let Pushkar answer this one, but before he answers it, I'm going to say one thing. You got to use your intelligence.
That's a good one.
Prabhupada said this movement is about being intelligent. But everyone's not going to tell you what to do every moment. You have to understand the principle, which is the basis for achieving intelligence, and then acting and using that in whatever you do.
Actually recording with those exact words where 1973, Prabhupada chanted the first 3 chapters of the Bhagavatam. People should actually listen to that. But, and at the end of that recording, Juna and some others were asking Prabhupada, can't tell who it is, but should we open the door, do this or that first, after this part of the installation. Prabhupada said, you should be intelligent. I mean, sometimes he would say that the book distributors were the best. Sometimes he said the Vijaras were the best. I was sitting there and he said, we first got the first volume of Bhagavatam, just got it from Dynapon. And it's funny because Radharani didn't remember this, and I told her years later, she said, oh, and she was probably gets the book, opens it up, looks at the picture, said, I think the artists are the best book distributors, right? So, am I have a book distribution? If someone bugs me, I say, look, this is what Prabhupada said.
The artist, yeah. Well then, from the spiritual, when we say jargon or vernacular, we got best, better, and best.
Purna, Purnatara, Purnatama.
So yeah, but you have to use your intelligence to understand what is the best thing to do with it, according to time, place, and circumstance.
I mean, one time Prabhupada said, close the temple, only one Vijara, everyone got an Harinam. And then like in 76 or 700 he said, Vijara is the most fortunate. So that means, other times you'll say that Vijara is simply ringing bells. So, Prabhupada's mood is changing too. You might say, yes, he should have a stick, but you can't think, every time he has to have a stick.
Yeah. But for example, here, they force everybody to have a stick of Krishna because Malati Prabhu said that Prabhupada told her directly. And I believe her. But I'm thinking maybe in another circumstance he said something different. And then they establish rules according with some specific devotees.
Okay, so let me give you a story that'll culminate this whole thing. So Prabhupada's talking about, sometimes the Acharya, he can change a detail in terms of how the execution of devotional service goes on, and it'll be different to another detail. And then Prabhupada started talking about principle and detail. And then Shrutikirti asked, well, Prabhupada, you didn't allow women to become, you allowed women to take, full responsibility for all the services, even like the men. And Prabhupada said, yes, I was successful for that. Because in other words, he changed that. The tradition and the culture was that women would be in a different role. They wouldn't be living in the temples. So Prabhupada let the women live in the temples. That was the Indian standard. And Shrutikirti asked, well, how do we understand something between the principle and the detail? Prabhupada said, it takes intelligence.
Yeah.
That's the only answer he gave, and nothing else was said. So and so when people get specific instructions, sometimes they apply that thing to everything. But it doesn't work like that.
Ramchar told me that after Srila Prabhupada left, he wanted to put together a book on deity worship. Srila Prabhupada personally instructed Arundhati and Shilavati and 2 others on deity worship. So we got them all together. And he wanted to just put together a book from their individual experiences to establish the principle of deity worship. And one of them would say something, and the other would say, Prabhupada didn't say that. Prabhupada said like this. And he said they couldn't agree. Because Prabhupada gave them different instructions about how it should be. He said the book never happened because
you go around ISKCON, you see the different standards in deity worship, even within the same form of worship.
Yeah.
So, where do we start? I mean, it says that before you can install a deity, you have to have 10 Brahmins to worship the deity. That's Shastra. A lot of times we don't do that.
And then he said every Brahmin has a shalagram around his neck and he does his own puja. That doesn't sound like 10 Brahmin.
Yeah, it's just that Maharaj, some devotees, for example, Mother Manfrini and her husband
you follow what Malati said because she's here.
Oh, yeah. Wherever I go, I follow whatever they establish. I don't complain.
Should Krishna have a peacock? Should Lord Chaitanya have a peacock feather or not a peacock feather?
No, when Lakshmani got direct instruction.
Yeah.
Lakshmani, he told her, put a peacock feather on.
He said that the Malati said, Lord Chaitanya must have a peacock feather and Lord Nityananda can or cannot.
What about on the singer?
No, that's weird.
No.
Yeah, because they told me to put
No,
the
this
peacock.
is Vaikuntha. You're mixing Vaikuntha with Vrindaban.
I've seen it here.
Today, this morning, I asked, do you put the peacock feather? Because I saw the peacock feather. Yes, you have to put the peacock feather on. I put it because they told me. I wasn't going to put it.
Peacock feather on Lord Nrsimhadev.
I know.
That's it.
It's there.
Top crown.
Oh yeah.
And I put it because the head pujari told me to do it.
I guess Lord Nrsimhadev is in the mood of Krishna this morning.
Keshava Drita, Narahari. It's Keshava.
Some
Casey,
people
yeah.
they do worry that Srila Prabhupada's instructions, they're going to get diluted as time goes by, as generations go by. So that's why they become very strong in Srila Prabhupada's setup because they're afraid.
There's nowhere he said to put peacock feather to Nrsimhadev. You can't
that
find
was the
that.
head
Anywhere.
pujari here.
You can't find that anywhere.
Yeah.
Gorgovinda used to get so disturbed when he came to the West and he'd see a peacock feather on Lord Chaitanya. He'd always make a big statement. No, you're ruining the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not a peacock. He said, no, Prabhupada said it.
Yeah.
Gorgovinda was a heavy duty captain.
Yeah, it was Gorgovinda that influenced that whole kind of controversy. But then again, why do we dress Lord Chaitanya? Why don't we just dress him as a sannyasi if we don't want to?
There's a tape, and I can't remember if it's a room conversation or part of the Bhagavatam class. On the tape, the Prabhupada says that if you're offering arti, the act of offering arti as a pujari, and a guest comes in the temple room,
You can stop.
If who's in the temple?
I
a
guess.
guest walks in the temple room, and nobody is attending to them, stop the arti and talk to the guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's about a dollar.
Everybody knows that's Prabhupada's mood, yeah.
He's lecturing on nectar devotion.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah, that rule is there.
And I was given that direct instruction when I took over the palace, not only stopping artis, but waking Prabhupada up if he was sleeping when the guest came. I'd have to open the doors.
Yeah.
So, what's inferred by that, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, that the preaching mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu supersedes the little details of the deity worship.
Yeah, but it takes intelligence how to do it and when to do it.
Right.
I'll tell you really a landmark story. I heard this from Gauranga, from Chaupadi. He said Prabhupada was in one temple, he didn't become specific, but some very respectable guest came, and Prabhupada turned to the young man next to him and said, go get some maha for the guest. The boy walks into the pujari room, and the pujari says there's nothing available now, but we just put the offering onto the altar and you'll have to wait till the offering comes off. So he goes back to Prabhupada and tells Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says, no, get it now. And so he goes back in the pujari room. This time the pujari is chanting his Gayatri. He walks right past the pujari onto the altar, picks up the plate and comes off the altar. And I think that was the fastest guy. No, he didn't finish. They both arrived at Prabhupada at the same time because the pujari, he started to freak out. He's going on. And then Prabhupada settled it right there. But so again, your point is illustrated. Yeah, we're a preaching movement. Yeah. Guest is considered to be the seen, it should be respected as if the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes personally.
Atiti Deva.
Yeah. Achiti, is it called? Atiti.
Atiti means the
Atiti.
exact time, but he's studying not on the right time. Titi.
Atiti.
He's Krishna.
I remember in the old days of New Vrindaban, if a guest came, everybody ran.
Another way.
Where's the guest master? Everybody be looking for, you just do it. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah? When we were here the old days, everybody was scared. We prayed, no guests come, please.
The other feature of that was to make up a name of the guest and get them on like for the.
Is that something you did?
I encouraged it when I There was a
Don't, hey,
internal-
I mean, don't incite some kind of revolution here. People are hearing what you're saying, you know.
You don't need to do that anymore. There's so much Maha.
Okay.
So easy to get now.
Yeah, those days are over.
There was a ghost person named Vishnu Das who he ate a lot of maha because he was sort of started to come up to the whole lot of driver and say, there's a new devotee here named Vishnu Das and we can get him on.
Everybody's Vishnu down. Okay. So speaking of Maha, it's time for breakfast. Okay. Thank you.
Start with Brahmacharya.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Here was